Hey everyone, this is Pete, and welcome back to Atari A to Z, a series of short playthroughs of Atari 8-bit games, some of which I grew up with and some which are new to me. We're going straight into Facecam this week because I've unfortunately sprained my ankle in the last couple of weeks and it hurts a lot, so I kind of want to minimise the amount of time I spend going up and down stairs, so you'll have to live without my seeing me in front of my shelves for a few episodes at least. But anyway, it shouldn't take away from the usual stuff that we're doing. Today we're taking a look at Beachhead 2, which was actually requested by quite a few people in the comments, so I figured, why the hell not? This was a 1985 game for Atari 8-bit, Commodore 64, Amstrad CPC, Apple II and ZX Spectrum. It was developed and published by Access Software, which was Bruce and Roger Carver, a pair of brothers. And they also developed the original Beachhead. And like the previous Beachhead, this is a multi-stage game with lots of different sort of mini-games to work your way through. And there's a stronger emphasis on direct competition in this one. There is a simultaneous two-player option that you can play, where one of you plays as the Allies and the other one plays as the Dictator. But in single player, you just play as the Allies. And it's a pretty well-loved game by a lot of people. Although back in the day, Analog magazine felt the Atari version was mediocre with acceptable graphics and little action. I've always rather liked this though, so we're going to play it today. So let me just grab a controller and we will get underway. Let us begin. Now, because this is a game that has several different parts to it, it has to load each part separately. So yeah, there you go. So here we go. One player or two players, and you can play level 1, level 2 or level 3. So you choose which one of those you want to play. So we're just going to play at level 1 because I was never very good at this game. And we'll say normal mode. You can also practice the individual sections if you'd rather. But we're going to play the full game. And it will then load the first section, which is attack. So we are playing as the Allies, who are apparently from the Netherlands. And we are fighting against the Dictator. And in each of these 4 sections, you have a distinct objective. Both sides have their own objective to complete, and they score their own points over the course of each of those rounds. And you take it from there. So, press trigger to start. So in this first phase, what you do is, as the Allies, you fly your helicopter up here using the joystick, and you press the fire button to parachute dudes down. And you score points for every paratrooper who successfully lands. Because you'll notice the Dictator down at the bottom is trying to shoot them all down. And failing pretty miserably at the moment, it has to be said. Oh, he's got one. You see, he gets loads of points for taking one of our people down. Right, then eventually your dudes are there, and this cycling, flickering cursor then goes between them, and you have to then use some of your dudes as decoys to distract the Dictator's gun, and you need to get them further forward into cover. And so your best bet in this sequence is to sort of launch several of them at once. So that at least some of them will get through. It's all about acceptable sacrifices. But you see, you have a limit on how many you can send out at once, which is indicated by the little blue dots on top of the wall. That shows how many people you've got left. And then we are down into this last section where your aim is to get your dudes out, make sure they don't get shot, and just sneak around into the base as such. Now this bit is actually quite ludicrously easy because all you have to do is just stay out of range of the cannon. And he can't do anything about it whatsoever. So this is some easy points for the Allies here. So you see, there's really very little he can do about it in this point. Now, if I remember correctly, it is actually possible to... yeah, you can throw a grenade like that. So you can actually... If you want to try and get some extra points, you can actually try and destroy the gun if you want to. But generally speaking, that is more trouble than it's worth. So I wouldn't bother. In fact, you know what? Let's just try it with one. So chuck in the grenade. Or not quite close enough. But we lost a dude in the process. Oh, he didn't even get to throw it that time. Not to worry. Now, much like in the original Beachhead, the better you do in this first component, the sort of more chances you have in the later stages. So it's in your interest to try and get yourself in a good position from the very beginning, so that you've got more chances on the later stages as you need them. Now, I always thought this first stage was a great way to start the game, because it's really showing off the graphics of the game. Like, look at the amount of colours on screen here. And the shading, the way the bullets from the gun, they're a darker shade of purple the further away they are. And the gradient sky and the... It's just a lovely looking game. Now, the Commodore 64 version of this actually trumps the Atari version in one specific way, which is the fact that it has some digitized speech in it. But, you know, I didn't really find out about that until later, so I never really missed it all that much. But it uses the same sort of voice synthesis as is in Epyx's Impossible Mission. So there's lots of silly sort of evil laughs and that sort of thing in there. Stay a while, stay forever. Yes, this is the only trouble with this last stage. Is it does get a little bit tedious after a while, because, as we say, it's so very, very easy. I'm not 100% sure how the hard difficulty would make that more difficult, because the gun can only move at a certain rate. And there just seems to be nothing that the Dictator can do against the Allies, unless they're sort of making a real hash of moving across there like that. I'm not complaining, because I've got 125,000 points now. Well, I've run out of men on the right. So, just some more people on the left to go. How many more, I hear you ask? I don't know, because it doesn't indicate at this stage. It only indicates how many men you've got in that early stage with the walls at the back. But apparently we still have plenty of troops. And we're still going. This is like that old comedy sketch where all the people get out of the car, isn't it? Oh, there we go. Alright, so first stage complete. Allies have 143,800 points, and the Dictator has a measly 37,500 points. So, we then move on to the second stage, which is Rescue. Excuse me, slurping my coffee. Right, now this is a sort of reversal of the situation for the Allies and the Dictator, because now the Allies have taken control of the gun, and what they have to do is ensure that the escaping prisoners, who look suspiciously like the soldiers we sent in, I know, But we have to make sure that the escaping prisoners are kept safe. And we do that by destroying the Dictator's various implements of death, which include this car down here, which will shoot underneath, this trapdoor here, and the tank, which will run them over, much as we saw just there. And again, your aim is just to get as many of these dudes through as possible without them dying. So if you're playing in two-player mode, the Dictator basically launches their different types of vehicle with different directions on the joystick. Some of them you can take direct control of. I believe you can take control of the pink thing on top of the on the balcony, because that can throw stones down at the yeah, there he goes. See, he's throwing a stone there. He's killed him there. So control of the gun is kind of tricky, actually, because you're sort of pulling back and pushing forward to change the elevation of it, and pushing left and right to change its rotation. So it's not just a case of moving a sight around on the screen. You've actually got to sort of... It has a certain sort of amount of physicality to it. And it's, as you might expect from a huge machine gun, it's tricky to be truly accurate with it, but you will eventually get a feel for how to aim properly. And you see that this stage has some absolutely excellent explosion effects, with everything sort of shattering into particles and that sort of thing. It's just... This was always one of my favourite stages, just because it's... Whoops! It's simple and it's fun, and it's graphically impressive. So the improved graphics in particular are the main reason why, as a kid, I always preferred Beachhead 2 over Beachhead 1. These days, I'm not sure, you know, because they've both got their pros and cons. They've both got their pros and cons. I like the fact you can play this two-player, and it is a lot of fun in two-player, actually. So if you get the chance to actually try it out with someone, I recommend doing that. But I think the first Beachhead sort of has a little bit more to it. But at the same time, the presentation of the first Beachhead isn't nearly as nice as this, so... Okay, so the Dictator did all right in that one, so we scored 200 points more than them. We are still leading them nicely, but yeah, they took out a few of our people. So press trigger to begin. We are now trying to escape. So push up or down to load chopper and press trigger to start the run. So what we do is we load our hostages onto the chopper. So you can do a sort of risk versus reward type thing with this. You can load all your hostages onto one helicopter, or you can try and do several runs. So we'll try and take them all at once, because I'm feeling feisty. And you then proceed in this vertically scrolling shoot 'em up, where you can adjust your altitude. So pulling back and forward on the stick, you'll see adjusts your helicopter's altitude. So you'll need to put your altitude down to get under these bridges, for example. And make sure that you're high enough to clear the obstacles, but also low enough to shoot things as well, because shooting things is how you get points. And we like points. Everybody likes points, don't they? But you also have to be a bit careful, because remember, I've got all the hostages in this one helicopter right now, so if I mess things up, that's all the hostages dead. So don't mess up, basically. If you take multiple trips, if I remember rightly, it actually gets slightly harder each time. So it's a bit like the tank sequence in the first Beachhead. Where it gets a little bit harder on each run. Oh, this bit's risky. Go on, make it through, make it through, make it through. He's done it. Success! 0 points for the Dictator there and 17,600 points for me. So we're now on to the final stage of the game, the battle between the leader of the Allies. He has a name. I can't remember what his name is. It's something ridiculous. So the battle between the leader of the Allies and the Dictator himself. It is the Final Confrontation. This is a bit I was never any good at because it's a bit weird, as you'll see. So the battle unfolds in a cave with a pair of them chucking knives at each other. I'm on the right, by the way. And you have to be like surprisingly accurate with this. You've got to hit them pretty much in the head. All the while the Dictator is making excuses for his terrible performance. You can actually sort of bend your shots as well, so if you push a direction as you're throwing your knife. Alright, that's round 1 to me. I think you have to do several rounds of... Yeah, here we are. Okay, so round 1, I got 4 hits on him. That gives me a bonus. I got 10,000 points now. So we then do another round. Because, you know, in war, it's only polite to do things as a nice structured competition. Ow. Oh no. If I remember rightly, in the Commodore 64 version, this is the bit where all the speech was in, so where all those speech bubbles are popping up when they hit each other. That's where the speech came in. I always thought this bit was kind of amusingly tonally inconsistent with the rest of the game, just because a lot of those comments they make to each other, they're so petty. It's like you hit the Dictator, he's like, it's not fair, I slipped. Oh no! Double KO! Does that count as a... That does count as a double for us, I think. Okay, cool. Continuing on. Round 3. Fight! Ooh, what a shot. What a shot. The jig is up, good sir. Do you have to play all 9 rounds? I'm not entirely sure, but I guess we'll find out. Round 4. Fight! I always like the persistence in this game, like the fact that the bullet holes in the gun, you will die. Like the fact that the bullet holes stayed in the gun stages and the knives stay stuck in the... Oh no! The knives stay stuck in the walls in this stage and so on. There's some really nice touches. 2 bonus points. Unacceptable. I guess you get 2 bonus points for a perfect then. Oh no. Stop hitting me! I'm losing my confidence and concentration. This relentless assault. Oh, we are tied for score. That's not good. Stryker. That's the Allies' names. He's something ridiculous, like Captain Jet Stryker or something ridiculous like that. You're finished, Dragon. And the Dictator is the Dragon. Nice. Good work, Stryker. On to round 7. Lovely shot. I'm concentrating now. We are into the true final conflict between good and evil. Will be fought on 2 opposing piers on either side of an underground river by chucking knives at each other. Yeah, you really do have to kind of hit them in the head. A body shot is not enough. Oh, he's down. On to round 8. Yeah, we are going to play all 9 rounds, aren't we? Alright, bring it on. Ooh, just missed. Nice. Evil never wins. You're finished, Dragon. Nice. Getting a convincing lead on him now. And the final round. Oops. Ah. You can't hurt me. I've got a better ship. The jig is up, Dragon. And that is it, I guess. Victory. Yes, that is it. Final victory for the Allies with a convincing score of 304,600 points versus 144,500 points. So feasibly, you could still win the entire game if you got better scores in the earlier stages. It's not just about winning that final event. But yeah, that is Beachhead 2, a game I've always been rather fond of. And like I say, if you do get a chance to play this with 2 players, it is a lot of fun. So I highly recommend it. So yeah, that was fun to revisit. So thanks for those who suggested that in the comments. And yeah, if there's anything else you want to see on this series at some point, do let me know, because I'm always open to suggestions, particularly for letters that are getting a little bit more difficult to find stuff for. You might notice that we skipped Y last time around because there's really very little left to cover that begins with Y that we haven't already looked at. And I mean, there's several more sort of Yahtzee clones that we could do, but you know, there's only so many of those we can really take. But anyway, that was Beachhead 2 for Atari 8-bit. As always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again next time.